Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. I'm starting this week with a story. For those that know me, you might have heard this story before. I've told it a few times. Just about 23 years ago, it's the year 2000, I was running a website. It reviewed comic books to probably the surprise of nobody. And I had a private directory where a friend and I, Gabe, if you know him, if you don't worry about it, would write short stories. And it quickly became sort of a competition of one-upsmanship. We would try to write, what we were doing is writing short, ideally emotionally impactful, with generally some type of twist ending that the other person didn't see coming. I think only him and I had access to this directory, so only he and I were reading the stories, and I said it became one-upsmanship because I would feel competitive once he wrote a story that I thought was better than mine, and I'm like, oh, this is really good, I need to write something better. And it lasted for a while. I can't remember how many stories we wound up writing, but I still think about that specific website and that time period fairly often. It was really nice creatively. It was just a really nice period of creative output. That brings us to DSTLRY and The Devil's Cut. This is an oversized anthology issue. DSTLRY is pretty vague about what they're doing. I mean, I guess they're going to put out some comics by these people and others. And, you know, you look at this list and I'm like, I like a lot of those names and I was interested in this. So I grabbed it and I'm so baffled by this. It's very confusing. So one thing that DSTLRY and Image have in common is they haven't figured out page number technology. I know it's new, but you might want to get on board with page numbers. Because this is an anthology, and unless you keep track, you have no idea like who's... It's dumb. It's just dumb. It's super simple to just add page numbers at the bottom of a friggin' page. Anyway. This changes my opinion about nobody that's in here. So I still dislike Tynion. I question whether or not Scott Snyder's best days are behind him. Becky and Tula Lotte are still amazing artists. Azzarello, where'd he go? Rizzo's doing some interesting stuff with his art. Azzarello... The story is so short. It's called Deleted Scene Number 2, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And you know, Joel Jones is still amazing. It's basically it's a bunch of 4 to 8 page stories. I think the longest was from Becky and Tula at, I want to say, 11 pages. I counted all of them. They're very much a mixed bag, as is typical of an anthology-style book, and I don't care really about any of them. I will check out whatever Azzarello and Rizzo do because they are Azzarello and Rizzo, but the rest of this, there are breasts in this, FYI. It's just, it feels like shit that Gabe and I were writing 20 years ago. It's just like, some of it's sort of junior high level stuff of like, a demon is running a church. Like, who cares? Who cares? It's dumb. It's dumb, and it's not worth $10. What is it? Yeah, $10? Not worth it. Get out of my house. Let's talk about some other stuff. We're gonna start with Ultimate Invasion. And I saw a headline on Bleeding Cool that was making reference to this feels like a Mark Millar story, and I agree with that. It, I don't know, doesn't feel especially Hickman, and I also don't especially enjoy it. I wish it would get to some sort of point There's a giant global conspiracy, and I don't care. I'm gonna get issue 4 because I hope, please, only be 4 issues. I don't think I could take it if it were 5, but the Illuminati haven't been seen for 2 issues, so that has to come up. Kang gets teased at the end of this. I'm curious who Kang is in this world. It could easily be the usual Kang. It could easily be Nathaniel. I don't know that it is. It could also be somebody else. I feel like this might be Tony, based on what was written in this issue, but I don't know. I don't like the world, and I know that the Maker will be defeated because that's how stories in comics work, and then it will start off a new story, and like, just get to whatever you're trying to do. Just get to it faster, because this is too slow. Oh man, we're starting on some downers this week. I finished reading Batman Catwoman. I've been tempted to drop Batman for at least the last arc. I didn't care about the universe hopping, hand missing shit. And I wanted to see at least what was happening at the start of the new story. And immediately after I finished reading this, I logged on to my comic shop website and I dropped Batman because I do not care. He's stubborn, closed-minded, and unopen to the opinions of others, which, like, I understand some of that is expected of Batman, but, like, I've read enough, and I'm not even, like, a die-hard Batman reader. I'm just tired. Batman should be better. He can be better. He has been better. This is not... It's basically my problem with Reed Richards, where every new writer comes in and makes him learn a lesson about family being important. I'm like, get the f***. No. I'm done. I'm dropping it. F*** this. Death of Venomverse number 3. I've been... last issue, I was questioning how the team that was being built up was going to defeat Carnage because he is... overpowered, and despite whatever team they're putting together now with Silence, I'm unfamiliar with her, but I did something that I read during one of my wiki dives clicked, and so like I kind of know who she is. Anyway, the team that's being assembled is not prepared for Carnage because they fight again this issue and things once again don't go well. The only way that I imagine this is going to end, and in part this is because solicits for November are already out and Cletus is involved again. Like, just shove Cletus back into Carnage and see what happens then. Somehow that will magically rectify whatever is happening. 2 and 3 are definitely not as fun as the first issue. I will ride it out and see what happens, but symbiotes are exhausting. I'm not talking much about art this week, just because these books are largely annoying to me. But we get to Black Hammer the End, and I love the Black Hammer universe. This story certainly ends in a very interesting place. I'm very curious about what's going to happen. Malachi Ward is not my favorite Black Hammer artist, but... who has been chosen to draw this story, so I'm going along with it. But we get some stuff on the farm, and just last week I was talking about how sometimes it's difficult for me to remember a story from week to week. No. Just last week I was talking about how it's sometimes difficult for me to remember a comic storyline from month to month, and it's like year to year, because this is referencing stuff that happened multiple miniseries ago, and I do remember large chunks of it. I don't remember how the core group got back on the farm. I don't remember how long ago that was. Was that the Justice League crossover? Anyway, we get some farm stuff. We get Inspector Insector, who is amazing. get Lucy, get some multiversal stuff. We get a bunch of Colonel Weird. Colonel Weird is amazing, and I generally enjoyed it. But there was some struggles to remember previous events. So, yes, Black Hammer, I'm in. I love that it's back. I will continue reading Black Hammer because even though this does say the end, it's not really the end. The Hunger and the Dusk issue 2, I'm staking a claim that this guy is half orc. I don't know, I didn't check back in issue 1 if we see the tops of his ears. I'm going to guess that they are mildly pointed. I'm taking that stance. They look high. Can't tell. Anyway, so we get a continuation of human-orc relations. Not sexual, by the way, despite how that phrasing sounds. We get some orc versus giant wolf stuff going on. The art in this is fantastic. There's a weird thing in the beginning here where... so issue 1 sees an orc join a human company, and that is unusual if you weren't paying attention. And so the main guy here, probable pointy ears, is introducing his crew to her, and he says, oh, here's 5 people you should know. And I go, okay. And then he says, oh, by the way, there's all of these other people too, and they're just off camera. I'm like, what? Okay. So, like, I kind of know who these 5 are, and then the 2 that are actually talking back and forth, and then these others, I'm like, well, who the hell are they then? That doesn't help me. I understand what you're trying to do, but you're just doing a poor job of it. Anyway, the rest of this issue is largely a fight sequence, and I think it could have been changed. I won't show the last page. There is the attack itself is very sudden, and there's a lot of lead up to it, and I'm just wondering why we spent a bunch of time riding horses and talking, and there's like a this whole page is about how this singer, this bard, needs to write new songs because they all insult orcs, and now there's an orc riding with them. And I'm like, you could have dedicated more time to this fight and making things more clear, but instead you wanted to do a page-long joke. I'm like, what? I'll probably get issue 3, but this... if that doesn't hook me, that might be the last one. Lastly is Arcade Kings number 4. This is brother versus brother, and a little bit is explained about why he looks this way, and one of the things that I was expecting to happen does happen by the end of this, so if you're paying attention, you might have the same thought, guess, as I did, but just amazing stuff. There's something in the background here that nobody calls out, but I'm like, that seems like it should be important. Let me see where that is. This, I think, is important, and it's going to come back up. Probably in the final issue. The collection for this has been solicited, and it does list it as Volume 1, so hopefully there is a Volume 2, and that this isn't... I would take it if this were a complete series at just 5 issues, but I do kind of hope it continues because I just love what is happening here. Regardless, either way, I'll be checking out what Burnett does next because this is just extremely fun. Extremely fun? That's terrible. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and it has a lot of that emotional impact that I was talking about a few minutes ago. Just the action, the writing, all of it is spectacular. Double KO. Fantastic. Look at that. That's important too, for sure. Anyway, this is great. By default, this is getting pick of the week because the rest of this is largely disappointing or flat out annoying. But one more book. Lastly, this came, I think, the afternoon that I recorded last week's video, so I got Groken. This is from Kenneth Rocafort. His, I want to say, Indiegogo campaign. And once again, talking about stuff over the course of years, I did not reread. This is actually issue 2. Does it say? It does say. So issue 2, I did not reread issue 1, and I'm struggling to remember what happened. We do get this. This is a troll, I'm guessing. A giant of some sort. Fight that happens right in the beginning. So she's down there. I do remember her. I remember this guy a little bit. And the art, as always, is spectacular. It's beautiful. I love it. The story is kind of mind-blowing. I like this turtle. There's so much stuff happening in the story, and I can't... Like, it's hard to keep track of all of it. But it's definitely a very fleshed out world, and I'm curious to see where this goes. There's no talk, I don't think, yet of Volume 3, which I'm sure is coming. And hopefully at the end of whatever arc this is, there will be one collection where you can get the whole thing in a single book, and then you can read it in one sitting easily. But Groken, yes, if you have the opportunity, grab this if it's available. I'll try to insert a link if I can find one where you can purchase this. But Kenneth Roquefort, love that dude. So that is everything that I got this week. I already said Arcade Kings is getting pick of the week. It's not a great week for comics. I thought it was going to be better. Black Hammer is a close... Well, no, it's not even a close second. It's second, but it's not close. And the rest of this is not... It's not great. So, I will be getting DSTLRY. I think the one book that they've solicited so far is the Becky Cloonan, Tula Lotay, supernatural, erotic something. And I don't know if now erotic is a genre that comics is getting into, but I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, huge disappointment in this. I expected better, and I got sort of junior high level 4-page stories, and it's very weird. It's very strange. And I need to find something else to read. Something better. I need to wash all of this out of my mouth. Anyway, this is everything that I got this week. As always, I get my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.